Hello and welcome back to Buckle Up. I'm Harry King and this is an MG3. It is a very, very affordable small hatchback, but should you buy one? Okay, so as usual, we're going to start here at the front. Well, I think this looks rather sporty. It does have a chrome grille, but it's got a quite nice angular front splitter going on, a lower grille. It's got these side grills here. It's got angular lights and it's got little strikes up its bonnet. I think actually this looks really good. And don't forget, this car has been on sale for over a decade, and yet it still looks this good. But what's it like at the side? Well, here you've got these 16-inch diamond cut alloy wheels. This is the higher of the two specification levels, so you do get slightly nicer wheels. You don't get roof bars or anything like that. All of this stuff's in black, sporty. You get pull-up door handles, which are not as common these days as they maybe once were. They remind me of my old Jag. And then round the back, we find the badges. I've always slightly questioned MG's naming strategy, because if you want to say what this car is, it's an MG3. It's MG twice, which is odd. But it's not just the 3, because that's a Tesla. 7-year warranty, excellent. Only matched or beaten by Toyota or Kia. However, Toyota don't make anything in this price range, really. I mean, there is the Aygo X, but it's hopeless. If I open up the boot, we will then find 285 litres of space, and a good big box of space it is. There is a very deep loading lip. But even lower down in the car than that, there's also underfloor storage. So actually, they've split the difference on the loading lip. They could have even gone lower with the boot floor, but they've gone, no, that would be silly. We'll give them a box under the boot. With the seats folded down, size grows to 1,262 litres. However, they don't lie particularly flat. There's a large hump in the floor, and the seat belts will get trapped when you lift the seats back up again. So it doesn't have any of those little touches that can make your life a bit easier, but there is a lot of space, which is important. Let's see what those rear seats are like. So, space in the back for adults is not massive. As you can see, my knees are wedged into the seat in front of me. I can't actually fit them in behind it. Headroom, however, is pretty good. This car does enjoy a rather flat-roofed profile, I suppose you could say. The windows are still an acceptable height in the back because the belt line doesn't rise too aggressively. These are benefits. However, downsides, no knee room. You do get ISOFIX. You do get 2 seat back pockets. Even more premium B-segment cars often don't have 2 seat back pockets. However, you don't get a cup holder, really. There's this kind of tray in the back of the center console in front. There's no USB to speak of. There's no armrest. There's not even a center headrest. So if you've got taller rear seat occupants, they really have to go in the outside seats. And if you've got children, they have to go into the outside seats because they need the ISOFIX for their child seat. So if you've got a very short 14-year-old, they can go in the middle seat, but otherwise I wouldn't really use it. I would, however, use the seats in the front, so let's go there now. Here in the front, things are much more comfortable for adults, as you would expect. There are some parts of the design, though, that are starting to show their age. So, gauge cluster, completely analog, tiny little TFT digital screen. I have one USB. For the car, I have one USB, and no Android Auto. There is Apple CarPlay, but no Android Auto. I do have a 12-volt socket as well. You do get an 8-inch touchscreen, which is quite impressive. And in this one, you do get a navigation system, so you don't suffer for not having the Android Auto, because you can connect your phone with Bluetooth. It's hard to find a car that doesn't have Android Auto these days. It's a rarity. Gear stick, proper handbrake. 5-speed gear stick, in fact. You also get this lovely, well, it's tartan, I think. Supposedly, there's this tartan finisher on the dashboard to add interest and flair. It does kind of look like wrapping paper, but it is better than just having plastic. And below that you have some carbon fibre effect. You also have fancy air vents with the little twizzly knobs like you would get in an Audi. So there are some good parts of this interior, but then around the rest of the place there's a lot of harder plastics, as you would expect. You can pick one of these up from under £13,000. It's playing in a very narrow field there against things like the Dacia Sandero and the Citroen C3U, which have similar levels of quality in their interior, or of soft touch, that kind of thing. You get a leather stitched steering wheel with perforated leather, grips on the side. You get cruise control, and that's kind of it. This car is very much a back to basics sort of thing. It's what you need and nothing more. The seats themselves are quite nice. They're fabric with sort of leather finishes on the edge, and they are sport seats. They've got proper bolsters on the side and the back. I mean, they're not Recaros or anything, but they're a level up from what you might find in a Dacia, for example. However, let's see how they work and go for a drive. Okay, so driving the MG3. Let's start with some headline figures. This has 106 horsepower. It's got a 1.5 litre 4-cylinder naturally aspirated engine, which means it has a red line of 6,800 RPM, which is quite high these days. It's got a 5-speed gearbox. Not seen one of them in a while, unless you've been in the VW product. And a real key. It starts on a real key that you put into the dashboard. It's not got a lot of torque due to the natural aspiration. It's only got 137 Newton meters. So it's not the fastest car in the world. 0 to 62 takes nearly 11 seconds. However, it doesn't actually feel too sluggish, because the engine keeps on zipping up towards the red line. So you can kind of get a move on. Now, while you're getting a move on, you will notice that the gearbox is not the tightest box in the world. There's quite a lot of play while you're in gear, and the throw is quite long. It's not the most positive action, but it's fine. It's just not maybe as sporty as the rest of this car might seem from the exterior. And to go along with that, there is sort of a mismatch in certain places in this car. So the steering weight is really good. It feels nice and heavy and chunky, and the turning's quite sharp. It's not dead on centre or anything. And the brakes feel okay, but they're kind of a bit too bitey at low speeds. Then at higher speeds, they suddenly don't feel as urgent, and you feel like you're pushing them quite a long way to come to a stop. The throttle pedal's nicely judged though, and the clutch is fine, but again, it's just not that sporty tie-in that maybe you'd be expecting. So steering good, engine good, gearbox okay, clutch and brake okay, throttle good. I do like in here the visibility in the glass house. It's got a nice flat belt line, so there's a really big rear window, and this might be a bit in depth, but the rear wiper covers most of the rear window. You can really see a lot out of it even in the rain. The windows are nice and tall. For nipping around town, it's nice and easy. You do get a reversing camera, and it is clear enough, you can see things. It is mounted very low though, so the angle's a little bit odd, and you don't have a frame of reference for where the actual edge of the car is. You can't see it within the camera, but the car's tiny, so it's not hard to park. And then also, in terms of the visibility, how I sit in the cabin, my seat's currently set all the way low. It's a little higher than I would like. I would really like it if I could get a couple of inches lower than this. I do feel like I can see down onto the front of the car, which some people really like, but I like a more sporty seating position in a hatchback. But the seats themselves are sports seats. They've got decent bolsters on the sides of them. They will hold you in pretty well. I don't think they would be the most comfortable thing for a long journey. There's not adjustable lumbar support. This one is height adjustable, the passenger one isn't, and obviously everything's manual control. The steering wheel will adjust for rake, but not reach. It's an okay distance for me and how I like to be sat when driving, but you might struggle more to find a suitable driver position if you often find yourself adjusting the reach on the steering wheel. I think there are just about enough sporty vibes in here for it to be considered maybe a little bit sporty. I like the way the revs climb, and you can blip this engine quite easily, and it adds engagement to this car where there might not be any otherwise. The driving experience overall is a bit old school actually, and I do like that. It feels more like a car from 2010 or even 2005. You know, the steering feels a bit more old school, and I really like the engagement you used to get kind of as standard with cars of that age. You'd often have a slightly more engaging steering setup, and you'd feel more integrated with the car. You'd be doing more yourself, and there isn't a lot of automation in here. I've got auto lights, that's about it. I don't even have auto wipers. I've got cruise control but no radars or anything. I'm doing all my own braking, all my own steering. I'm engaged, I'm involved, I'm driving on. And at the price point, it's not a sin to not have those things included. This is one of the cheapest cars you can buy in this country. Yes, this one has a navigation system because it's the nav model, but you know, it's everything you need and nothing more. And I like that it's got red dials. They're a bit sporty as well, and it's got the dashboard has the kind of tartan pattern on it. And I think, you know, people write these off because they look at it and they think, oh come on, you're not that sporty really. You're not as sporty as a Fiesta, rest in peace. But it doesn't need to be as sporty as a Fiesta. It just needs to be sportier than a Citroen C3 or a Dacia Sandero. And I can tell you it's miles sportier than either of those cars. If you're looking for a first car or for a cheap runabout, this is going to be, I mean, it'll be nicer than any used car you could buy, even for similar money. And it'd be nice and cheap to run. It's got a low insurance group. And even still, I know it's only 5-speed, and I know it's a bigger engine, but you'll get over 40 mpg. The downsides are, because it's a value car, you don't get as much equipment, but then the upside is it's attainable in terms of its pricing. Because yes, we all wish we could have everything for nothing, but unfortunately the world doesn't work like that. And if what you do need is a car now, this is basically, I mean, yes, the Dacia Sandero is cheaper by £25 in base form than base form of this, but actually the finance offers on this are better than the Dacia ones, so you can get this for less than any other car on the road, and it doesn't feel like you're being punished for it. It's not a bad car, it's feature-like compared to anything else, nearly anything else you would get into these days. Right, well, I've probably nattered on for long enough, so let's go back and do a conclusion. So, the MG3. Is it the best B-segment hatchback I've ever driven? No, but it's one of the most affordable ones I've driven, and I think of its direct rivals in terms of cost, it is the most sporty looking and the most sporty driving. So if you're looking for an affordable new car, you're looking to replace something that's the bottom's fallen out of it or the engine's blown up, or you just want to get in a new car with a warranty, this is a great buy. It's going to be so much better than a used car. A 7-year warranty is really useful, and it's still not bad to drive. So there you go. Thank you so much for watching. Please remember to like, comment, and most importantly, subscribe. You'll find all of the links to all of our social medias down in the description. You'll also find 2 ways to support the channel. We have channel memberships and we have a merch store. So go there, buy things, become a channel member, go follow us on Facebook. Please do one or all of those things, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.